the highlights of my career are definitely some of the things that I did during my 20 plus years at the Tulsa World. I had the sort of opportunity to cover some really important events in Oklahoma and frankly national events. The Oklahoma City bombing, which was a very difficult thing to cover, but I was really proud of the way that the paper devoted enormous resources to that event. I stayed there on site of the bombing for days on end, making sure that people who died were remembered, covering funerals and covering Bill Clinton's speech during that week, and just sort of chronicling the strength and the resilience of people in Oklahoma during that time. I was really proud of that. Covered the Joplin tornado, where I interviewed people who had just lost children and family members, and again, the resilience of people in the Midwest totally came through in that experience. They were very gracious. It was very challenging reporting in both of those situations, just trying to do your job in the moment and file and technology and deal with being on the scene of a disaster like that. And then especially the work that Carrie Espemal and I did after the botched execution, which resulted in us being named finalists for the Pulitzer Prize in local reporting. That reporting was very difficult. We faced a fair amount of pushback, from people who favored the death penalty, and it was a difficult time as a reporter, but the newspaper, the Tulsa World, stood by us, and I'm very proud of the work that Carrie and I did on the execution. I would say my father is my biggest inspiration in life for sure. He is in his 80s. He's a physics professor, still very involved in his work, and definitely taught me the importance of just staying in there, staying in the fight, being relentless and not giving up. You don't necessarily have to be the most gifted person in the room, although he often was. You just have to be the person that won't go away. Professionally, my friend and mentor, Mary Hargrove, is someone who I would say is my #1 inspiration. Mary had a long career as a journalist, as an investigative reporter and editor, and she really inspired me because of her passion for this work, her relentlessness, and especially her ability to frame an investigative story and tell it in an interesting and readable way. And especially my husband and my children for their support. I wouldn't have been able to do this work without them. And they and my extended family from Oklahoma and Arkansas have spent many years just listening to me talk about stories, helping me figure out what really is meaningful in terms of reporting, being a sounding board, and sort of supporting me through like many nights away from home and the stress that does come with this job.